What's up, y'all? It's Lambo, and today I'm here to talk about Whoop. I've had my Whoop since July of 2017, and I've worn it really consistently since I've gotten it. And let's set the record straight. This thing is not an Apple Watch. This is not here to count your steps. This is not here to tell you that you met your stand goal or your move goal or whatever. This is a highly effective data collection device that is going to really amplify and let you see what signals your body is giving you and how you're performing with your certain recoveries and sleep performances. And I think it's just the all-around best tool to use if you're looking to improve your recovery for training, or if you just want to understand your physiology a little bit better. When you open up the app, you have your home screen. It's going to show you your recovery score, your daily strain, your HRV is kind of tucked under your recovery, and any activities that you would do. It's not just your sleep. I just didn't have much time to train today. Then, if we swipe over, we will see our strain. If we tap the box, we will see our max heart rate data, our average heart rate data, and our calorie burn for the day. When it comes to calories on this, it doesn't really factor in your basal metabolic rate, so I wouldn't get too hung up on the calorie burn thing anyway. If you are wanting to use that number, I definitely think it's a great idea to say, okay, wow, I've burned that many. Maybe I need to increase my caloric intake for the day if I'm looking to gain weight, or vice versa. Now, another thing I've learned when it comes to strain, this is the big one. This is the one that everybody's all jacked up about when you probably should be more focused on your recovery. The way that strain is calculated by this thing is when your average heart rate is up really high for the day, it's going to reward you with a pretty solid strain score. Your max heart rate doesn't really affect your strain score as much. The weight on your average heart rate is a lot higher. The numbers underneath show you your averages for the previous 30 days. So you can see if it's up or it's down, and that's what the arrows beside it indicate. Then we go to the next page. We tap the box. We see data on our recovery. Obviously in the green, 89%. Then we see our HRV, our resting heart rate, our sleep hours, which is actually our time that we were asleep, not just our time in bed. And then our respiratory rate, which is something new. I think that's neat. We swipe over to the last one, and probably my favorite screen, sleep performance. It shows you your hours of sleep, which for me was only 6 hours and 21 minutes. And then it shows you your sleep need. If we touch hours of sleep, it's going to give us that same breakdown of hours of sleep that was on the main screen. And then if we touch our sleep need, this is really great. It shows you how much your recent strain has added to your need of sleep. Your sleep debt, which basically means, hey, you missed out on 39 minutes of sleep last night that you really needed. It adds up, and then you see some nap stuff. You see some nap data. Now let's dive into sleep a little bit more, and this is one of the things I really think that sets Whoop apart from its competitors, even if you can call them competitors. I don't really think you can. When we click on our sleep, whether from the sleep screen or from the home screen, you'll see an entire map out of your heart rate over however long you've been in bed. And one of the pro tips I think I would want to give now, if I'm allowed to even give a pro tip, is to always use the start activity button. I think this is the best way to accurately calculate what your workouts are looking like, what your sleep is looking like, what your naps are looking like. So for me, if I was going to go to bed right now, I would hit sleep and then I would hit start sleep immediately, because this takes all the guesswork out of it. Yes, this thing can auto-detect for you, but if you really want to get the most precise data and figure out how long you were actually awake in bed and what your latency actually looks like, which is the time it takes you to fall asleep, you need to start your activities and start your sleep especially. Back to the map, you'll see a breakdown of awake time. This can be just you rustling around in bed, or it can be pretty significant chunks of time where you're sitting up with your eyes open and your heart rate's elevated, and Whoop detects that and it knows that you're awake. And one little thing here. If we look down at our REM and our deep sleep, those are two areas that we really want to maximize. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not the expert in that area, but you should definitely dive down that rabbit hole. I would highly recommend listening to the Dr. Matthew Walker, Joe Rogan podcast. If you haven't, that is a sleep masterclass. Definitely check that out. And one little thing, these little recommendations that Whoop gives you, it's simply just observing the data and then reporting on the data. It's not necessarily saying you're doing less than optimal like it does here. This is an optimal amount for healthy adults. It's an optimal amount for healthy adults, but that's not like an excuse for me to go, oh yeah, it says it's optimal, so I can keep doing it this way. When in reality, if I go back to the sleep screen, I see that I'm only getting 79% of the sleep that I needed. And in my book, that's way less than optimal. And from the home screen, let's go ahead and touch that center ring. You see what your optimal day strain would be based on your recovery. Now, when you look at this and you see optimal day strain of 14.9, this is not telling you, okay, you've got to hit 14.9 or this day is completely wasted. It's more about, okay, if we were going to train and train a lot, this number at the max would give you the best training results for the recovery that you have. Now, if you notice, I'm kind of underachieving a little bit today. I'm sitting at a 9.9, but for me, that's the balance I've struck. And the reason I've struck that balance is if we scroll over to the sleep page, we'll see that I only have a 79% score in my sleep performance. When it comes to my recovery, I look and say, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I've got an 89. But that's not the only metric in this app that really matters. And what this thing is trying to give you are, yes, independent data points that feed into something like a recovery score, something like a strain score. But if we look at these all independently and go, okay, my sleep performance isn't too hot, but man, my recovery is good. So I can really train today. But should I? Because is that just going to increase the amount of sleep that I need and the debt of sleep that I create? If I push really hard today, will tomorrow make me feel like absolute dumpster trash? Which it probably will, newsflash. One of the biggest points I want to drive home with what using the Whoop has taught me is that it is really about balance. And when it comes to my use, the thing that I've really tried to practice in the last year is I developed some prerequisites before I even use the data that I get from my Whoop. My list of prerequisites is like two things. For me, it's about getting enough sleep and seeing how I feel when I wake up in the morning. And then the second one for me is getting enough calories, because weight gain and muscle gain is like my primary goal at this point in my training. And then after I see if those two prerequisites check out, that's when I go to my Whoop and say, okay, my recovery is at 89%. I can build a lot of strain today and get to that optimal 14.3 strain score for the day. When we look at those things in conjunction with the data that Whoop gives us, that's where I think the true power and potential of this device is unlocked. And especially when I see folks that overtrain consistently for their recovery, we are just digging ourselves a deeper and deeper hole to get out of. Like I said at the beginning, this thing is not a, oh man, I got a green, let's go get it. It's, oh man, I got a green, that's cool. If I want to train like that, I can today. And I think to sum this up really nicely, I think the most important thing that Whoop has taught me is, again, balancing recovery and strain. When you have a great recovery score, it may not be the best day for you to go after it and try to set an 18 on your strain score for the day. Don't get caught in the trap of, man, I'm in the green, time to hammer down. If you don't feel ready, if you're underfed, underslept, or whatever else, or under-available, let's not discount that. If you just don't have the time to do it, don't stay up late trying to match your optimal strain. Go to bed. There's always another day. There's always another green recovery that we can get, and another day where we have time to capitalize on that recovery. I know I went into a lot of information here, and there's a lot more I could share, but for me, the gist of this thing was just trying to convey that yes, this thing gives you absolutely undeniable data that is completely personal to you, and we need to have a personalized approach to applying that data. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and again, I really hope that the data was relevant and what I shared was helpful and applicable. So if you could, please like this video, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be putting up a lot more content in the following weeks, and I can't wait to see you guys. And I'd be remiss if I didn't bring it up. My buddies over at Sharpen the Axe, who made this lovely Misfit shirt for all the OGs out there, they just dropped their Coaches collection, and you can use code HANNAH to give a shout out to my friend Hannah Hardy to get 10% off of that order. If you have any questions for me, shoot them my way. Follow me on Instagram at Nate Lambert. And if you're looking to take the next step in your fitness journey, you can book a personal training session with me at the link that is below. All of my availability for personal training sessions for the month of May is listed there. And all you have to do is choose the best time that works for you and your schedule. We'll be looking forward to seeing you guys soon. Have a blessed day.